All right, what's up? This is Neil. I'm going to show you guys how to paint a tongue. Okay, well, that looks all weird now because I forgot that I was using the lips that was underneath it. So I guess I could just, add some of that back in there really fast. I'm going to show you guys how to draw a tongue sticking out so that it looks cute. Or not draw, but paint. Right, so you have like a character and like, hey, I kind of want her tongue sticking out. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'll show you guys how to do that. So I'll go ahead and undo this. Right. So I have this kind of blank face here, and you want to kind of like, shade it over here. It's like this is like a mound, Definitely watch my courses on, or my course rather on, sculpting, or just watch some tutorials on how to sculpt a face, and it can be digital. It's fine. This part here is really important. It's like a mound, like a, it has like a shape to it, like that, like a sticks out a little bit. So you want this part to be more lighter, that part to be more darker. Anyway, so the brush I really like using is right here, this round, flat's nice. I'm gonna be using this one. This is just one I made. I just took this brush and I just went in here and I turned off the brush size for pin pressure. That's all I did to it. Comes in handy. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna draw the kind of shape we want for the lip. So I'm just gonna not draw, but paint. Now you could try sketching out if you want to first, but I'm just gonna go right with it like that. Boom. That's gonna kind of curve up a little bit right there, and maybe kind of curve up right there just a little bit because it's gonna be like a smile, right? Something like that. That looks pretty cool. And then we can take this and cut into it. I prefer doing it this way, and then you can come in there and round that out. By the way, and I just recently, and I usually paint with PaintStorm, and it's only $30. You own it for life, free updates and everything. But lately, I've been really liking Clip Studio Paint. I really like this round mixing brush, and also the dry gouache brush is nice. And there's a couple different brushes that different techniques to mix them together. Feels really nice. Now, because this is kind of a mix between painterly and drawing, I can also put hard lines in there. So I think something like that will work for now. I'm going to take a kind of skin tone and maybe go a little bit more something like that for now, like grayer. There we go, something like this. So I don't want it to, this is going to show her teeth basically. So I'm going to go thicker to thinner like that. Thinking something like that. And you can also look at this over here, but I just don't have it zoomed. I don't have this big enough. I'd have to like pull it out and make this a lot bigger, to actually see. And I just don't feel like doing that. But you can have that, disconnect this and make this bigger if you wanted to like have like another view basically of that. But I don't know. I'm fine with just zooming in and out. So recently I got a new tablet because the tablet that I had was goofing up on me. It was a Huion old 2016 or something, or maybe it was a 2018, and it was the 2K version. It's nice, a 16-inch 2K version. I liked it a lot, but then the screen started going bad. It's still usable. I'm saving it for backup, but what happened is the some of the screen looks kind of goofy. Not goofy. It has like light marks, almost as if I took my finger and just kept scraping away, and it started revealing light. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but like these light marks, and it kind of gets in the way of my what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to paint. And so I'm like, I gotta get a new one. So I decided to try the 13. I used to use a 13 years ago. So I got the Canva 13 Gen 3. I wasn't gonna get the 16 Gen 3, but I thought the 13 was also 2K, but it's not. It's actually 1080p. But nonetheless, you just change it on the settings and just change the DPI to 100%. It defaults to 150% for some reason. Just change that to 100%. And look, it looks nice. It's really sharp, everything. Like I don't really notice the difference or feel a difference. So I'm really enjoying it. And the pin pressure feels really nice. It's definitely an upgrade. Right. So once we have something like that laid out, if you want to, you can kind of lay out the bottom, lip, her Mouth is going to be open, so you can kind of, I don't know why I'm wasting my time there. Just do one stroke here. It's going to be kind of open like this. And that's just to get an idea like how the lip would kind of be there when the tongue sticks out. Now I'm gonna do the tongue in another layer now. So let's go ahead and make a new layer here. I'm gonna just use this. And we want the tongue to also be kind of a different color if we can. Then, so you notice how like this color here that I have a really red, I might actually go redder with, maybe start like that. I might go red, actually we'll start with this darker color. I might go redder with the lips actually now that I think about it. So it's kind of come out like this and it's kind of come to this kind of oval shape. This shape here I think really makes a difference. Something like that. And because I'm on a new layer, I should be on a new layer, right? Yeah. Because I'm on a new layer, oh, I don't want to go way up there. Just, there we go. Anyway, what's really cool is they have these scroll wheels and you can set it to change the size of the brush. And that's like really nice. It's just built right there on the tablet. And then the other one I can use to zoom in and out with. But typically I use the keyboard to kind of move around. I'm just used to that. I'm used to that workflow. So, all right. So once we have the tongue in there, I'm going to go ahead and fill that in with the color using the paint bucket, and then we'll come back here and just kind of add some paint. Right now, what I want to do is I want to take this lightest color here. And you can see it's kind of like that. You can also just pick it straight, and I want to kind of lighten this up right in the middle. I'm going to re-add that line. I'm lightly fading it out here. So I'm pushing kind of hard in the middle, and then I'm lightly fading out, just using little pin pressure, just kind of fade that out. And that gives the tongue a kind of three-dimensionality. Kind of round out here and here, and then I want to kind of pull this centerpiece like that. I'm not too worried if I go over the teeth because it's on a different layer. I kind of see that lip underneath. I don't know if I like that. I might change that. All right, that looks pretty cool. Now we just got to change how the teeth look as well. So let's come back here. And I think I want it to be more like this. So let's go ahead and I think I'm gonna have it to where the tooth starts or the teeth start right about there. Make it much thinner, about like that. And I didn't want to do it fully yet until I had an idea kind of how it was gonna be, something like that. So she's like just lightly sticking her tongue out and just like letting her teeth kind of rest on it. I think that looks cute. Cool, cool. And that right there gives us all the main information that we need. Right, it gives us all the main stuff. We want to make sure the forms are working right before anything else. Because as long as the forms are right, then everything else is going to fall into place. Right, get the forms right and everything else will follow. I'm going to add just a slightly lighter tone here. I just grabbed the skin tone, kind of painted in there very lightly. I just want to add a three-dimensionality right there. I'm not worried about any of the details or anything like that yet. Yeah, I'm thinking that looks pretty cool. And then we might, come up with a little edge here just to kind of show she has a little bit of a smile. I'm think I'm gonna get rid of that for now. And I might actually add a little bit darker here. I'm gonna go make sure I'm underneath the tongue. I just want to add a little bit of a shadow like that. So yeah, I think that's actually working pretty good. I'm just really making sure all the shapes are working, the way I want them to before we add any details. Yeah, all right, cool. I think overall, I like the forms, so. Then I like this ink brush here, the Real G pen. It has a little bit of texture to it. I think that's really nice. I'm gonna take this darker color here. And I have it set up where I can really go nice and thick with it if I want to. Like I can look how thick I can go. Like this is like a really cool pressure sensitivity thing, and I like using it big like this for some reason. Some of this you might get rid of. We might paint over a little bit, but for now I'm just gonna kind of add something like that. And then I think I might want the teeth to come out just a little bit more than this. So something I want to add a little more like that. I'm gonna add just a really thick amount of paint there, and then I'm gonna fill this in. I might also repaint over this tooth again. It's really white, so let's go ahead and do this, make it more gray. I'm gonna kind of go grayer over here, grayer here. I'm not too worried about the overall shape right there. I'm just trying to get a nice band of color that I wanted there. Then I can come back over again. I'm giving her a slight snaggletooth. So something like that. Okay, looking cool. And then now I'm going to come out and I'm going to slightly outline the tongue. Let's go back to the tongue layer now. I'm just going to slightly outline the tongue, kind of break it up like that. This takes really light pressure, but this thing has such good pressure sensitivity. I wasn't able to use this ink brush with this big of a tip and get this small of pressure before. But with this new tablet I can. They upgraded their pins, which is really nice. And I still feel like that doesn't look right to me. Let's see here. Let's kind of blur that out a little bit, see what that looks like. That's cool. We'll add a little bit of highlight as well to this side, just a little bit like that. See what that looks like. Cool, it's starting to look nice. Now what I want to do is I want to take this color and maybe make it a little bit brighter. I want to just add a little bit more, like maybe 2 little marks like that. And then we're going to take those and kind of blend them out. This is just to add a little more three-dimensionality. Looking cool. All right. So I want a slightly darker color here underneath and around like this, just to really kind of also I think I might actually give this more of a lipstick feel here. And maybe just go a little bit brighter. Light pressure there, kind of blend those two together. It really blends nicely. That's why I like this brush. I just do light pressure and it's like, man, look at that blend. Just get a nice quick blend. I like it a lot. And then I might actually go ahead and show that her lower lip is there. And then because this is kind of a, drawing slash painting, add some of that there. So it's looking cute. And once you get to this stage, really, from this point, I'm gonna see what it looks like if I add a little bit of her lip here. From this point onward, it's really just a matter of adding some highlight details to get that to push that final piece. I'm gonna go thicker with my line right here, just to really kind of push that shadow side. Yeah, so from here, it's really just a matter of adding a little bit of detail. So watch this. Watch how much it changes. Once you have all the forms right, everything's working right form-wise, then you just add those final details and it just makes everything pop correctly. So we're gonna add a little bit of shine, like maybe right here. How did I do it here? Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do all like that. I think I'm gonna do it a little differently. I might take this though and add add a little bit of this down here. And also on the bottom here, this just adds a little bit of dimensionality, a little more three-dimensional because less light is going to be on this side over here. So I just want to buff that up a little bit underneath right there. There we go. And then I'm going to take this lighter color and add just a little bit of that. And I might take the brush here, just add a little bit. I'm not going to go super light on it. Just add a little bit of texture like that. Might even add a little bit of this underline texture right here. And you can actually even, come up and add a little bit of texture like that. It's unnecessary. In fact, I probably wouldn't use that brush for that, not for the upper lip. You can just use the paintbrush, make it a lot smaller, and just add a little bit of these kind of shapes. I'll just use that color and just push down into it actually. Use the color that's already there and just kind of push down. Just add that little bit of texture. See, that adds a little coolness to it. And add that little bit of under. Then I'm gonna come back here and add a little bit more of this, like that. Nice. Now from here, you can start with this paintbrush by adding some of the texture this way. I'm going to use that color. I'm going to grab this color because I want a little bit lighter than this color. So what I do is I grab the color that I want. You don't want to just pick an arbitrary highlight and just add it everywhere. Every highlight is different from each other, right? And it's relative to the color that's next to it. So you don't want to just take that one color highlight and go, okay, I'm just going to add that everywhere, and that's my highlight. I'm like, okay, I'm done. No. What you like to do here is build it up. So start with this color here. Don't just assume that, what it is. Take that color and then add it, make it a little bit lighter. Then you could use this one here. Although I don't know if this one doesn't seem to work the way, I guess it's that one. Sorry, wrong one. So it's all the way to the right. This one here. And I'm going to come up, maybe a little bit desaturated. No, actually, we'll go saturated, a little bit up and brighter. So now it's a little bit brighter than what's there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some shapes right here next to this side of the tongue, because that's where some light will hit, like there, and right about here. Maybe I'll go a little bit brighter. I want it to stand out just a little bit more than what's there. Something like that maybe, right? So that adds a little bit of brightness to that side of the tongue. And I could take the exact same highlight right here and come across this way because it looks like it's, around the same. And I can also just do the same technique I just did a second ago. And I want to start with that first. A little bit of line, a couple of little bumps like that. And then finally I have this edge that's going to be hit. It's going to be all hit right here, like that. And it's going to come across right here like this. This whole edge, this is like where all the saliva and stuff builds up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go even brighter than that. You can also, try to move it more towards the brightness like that if you wanted to. Go even brighter like this. Now I'm going to take this brush, my ink brush, and we're going to add just couple little dots like this. If I want to zoom in, I can really show what I'm doing pixelated wise. Just a few little parts like that. And then you can even go all the way, to almost white and just add, a couple like that if you wanted to. Right, that makes it look kind of wet, adds more dimensionality to it. And then same thing down here, I want to kind of do that same thing. Start with this color here, go a little bit brighter, or a lot brighter, but not too bright. And just add a little bit of, sometimes I add some horizontal texture as well, like little lines like that. Okay. And then finally, we're going to take that same color there and add some nice little highlights right here. You can also even, add. So you could add these lines like this. But, this looks like kind of like saliva lines. And it does make it look a little bit more wet. So if that's something you want, and that's going to be mostly for when people view it up close or print it out. Looks pretty cool, but it's up to you whether you want any of those. Kind of want to do these kind of almost like that. Now, another thing you could do is you could, if you wanted to, come right in here, add some of those saliva lines, and then, cause this to pull down. You could even have saliva. Just I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to show you, like, if you wanted to do something like this, you want to kind of do that a color like this first, something like that, kind of make it break up. Okay, and then you want to come back in with a lighter color and add just some dimensionality to it, like just adding a little bit of spots here and there that's going to be brighter, right? Something like that. And then finally, I'm going to turn this down. It's a little big. Add some final highlights like this. That's too much. So just think about where the light's going to be kind of hitting, maybe right there, right here, more on the top edges. Like, think about that as being its own little sphere. Each one of these are like their own sphere and have their top edges, like that. So you make it look like, she has saliva or something. And you could do it like a more of a almost a transparent color with just some highlights, and that's going to make it look more like saliva. But like I said, I'm not going to have any of that. I should have done it on its own layer so I could have deleted it easier. It's a lot of history. I'm kind of backing up now. Right, and there you have it. Now we have this cool tongue sticking out, and here's one I took a little bit more time with, I think, maybe. It's kind of messed up though because the way I also made that one a little bit wider. But overall, this looks really nice, and it doesn't take a whole lot of painting when you think about it. You can actually do it without having to do a whole bunch of painting. Like, people think that painting is, like rendering is really. I mean, it takes a while to do that. Imagine doing that level of detail everywhere. It does take a while, but painting doesn't have to be like as crazy as you think. You're not trying to make it photorealistic. You're trying to simplify it, right? So just having a few tones for the tongue and then the highlight, bam, we have something that's really cool. Same for the lips. You don't have to go like super crazy. And like same thing with the fingers here. You don't have to go super crazy on this, right? In fact, this is all, look at that, all one tone right there. Just about kind of changed a little bit like there, but that's all just one tone. And this right here is pretty much all just one tone, right? Then you have this right here. This whole entire shape here is pretty much one tone. And you just take the blur brush and just blur the end out right here a little bit. And you can blur that together, right? Just add a little bit of, it's not on the right layer, but anyway, gives you an idea. Like, you can just, this right here is really just three tones. That tone, this lighter tone, and this darker tone. And that's it. Then you only have that highlight, right? Also, with the trees in the background, these little shapes right here are really nice. So what I do, I just do it with this right here, right? I just take this brush, and I don't even spend much time on it. I just kind of go, okay, there's that shape, and maybe like that shape, and that's it. Boom, that looks really cool. Right, I'm not gonna do it there though, but just having a few of these, and then I'll come back in with the sky tone. The sky tone happens to be this kind of whiter color, and kind of pull in here sometimes a couple spots. Maybe even right here. Maybe there's a spot there that has some light peeking through, and it's really cool. And just having these nice shapes that I might have went overboard here, right? It just adds. Actually, I'm gonna get rid of all of that. I don't like it. Let's kind of pull this color in here a little bit, and then take this color and just go boom. Maybe one leaf like that, one leaf like that. That looks cool, right? So it's just like thinking about shapes, and a lot of times like shapes come together. Threes look really good together. Twos sometimes can look good, but it's kind of like that third shape right there. But really, like odd numbers really look the best. And so it's coming around. It just adds. Like, see the shapes here. So what I do, if you want to, how would I do this? For example, what I do is I kind of just come with some crazy shape. Let's say like, oops, like this, right? Just kind of like a, basic shape like that. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of eat away at some of this, right? And I decide like how much of this, maybe I have like some leaves right here, that same kind of shape, but it's the opposite. It's where the light's eating in. And just having that cool shape at the end can look like a lot of leaves. Especially if you do this kind of shape a lot. You have one more, right? So just doing that can make it look like you have a nice outline. It's just, I think it's a really cool artistic look. So something you might want to mess with bushes and stuff. Same thing back here. You can do the same kind of thing. And even though this is going downwards, you can still have that same kind of look and kind of eat into this. Right, and from a distance, it looks really nice. So, rightio. Just think if there's anything else I wanted to show you. Like with the eyes here, I used a couple different techniques. So I'm using I use the crayon, but not a crayon. I use this one. Yeah, I guess I have to use the crayon. Okay, I thought maybe use the charcoal, but it's the crayon. You can also try the pastel, just to get different textures. Like you just go like that, and that just gives you like a quick texture. Like right here, watch this, boom. That gives me a quick texture that looks kind of nice. And you see that from a distance. When I print it out, it'll make a subtle difference. Or you can just take your brush like I did before and kind of add a couple things like that. And then come here and maybe go a little bit brighter, right? And say, this is where my bright makeup's sitting. I just kind of dot it, right? Either just do a slight little circle or just kind of push with different pressures to get like these little dots. I'm just doing it really fast to give an idea, right? And doing at different pressures is going to give you, you know, the more. I'm thinking about the three-dimensional structure of it. Let me go back here a bit. Sure, I'm talking about. So I'm thinking, okay, my brightest parts are going to be right here. Let's say that's where the light's hitting the most. Then it's going to fade out as it goes away, right? So I'm thinking about that principle. I'm like, all right, let's put all my brightest ones here, like that. Then I'm going to start fading them out. They're not as bright. See that? And I'm going to fade them out even more as they come out here. Oops, that was too bright. So just less pressure as I come out here. And then bam, I have that kind of cool, eyebrow texture. And so I just brushed the crayon right here. And then to add that kind of like, see how it almost looks like maybe her eyes are reflecting some of the trees or something in her pupil. That's really easy to do. So one, I never make my pupils pure black. So if I go pure black with this, it just doesn't look right. Right? We can start with pure black. And then I'm going to take the crown brush here. And I just want to add a little bit of this, sprinkle there. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm at crayon. Yeah, there we go. This allows me just to add this little bit of texture and then I'm gonna come back in with the black like that. Right, and just a little bit of unevenness. This looks nice. And then from here, I'm gonna think about the different highlights. So I might want one green highlight that kind of hits right here, right? And I want kind of a wider highlight that hits up here somewhere, like that. And I'm gonna kind of slightly blur it out. Or another way you can do it is you can start with something that's not as bright like that, and then hit it a little bit harder, but more toward like one side. See, it kind of adds a little dimensionality to the highlight. And then you see how this one over here, I really got bright with it, but look at the edges like that. So what you could do is you can do like a color dodge or color burn, right? So you go like this, and then you can hit it with a color burn, color dodge type of thing. Let's go with the airbrush. Let's go with add glow. And that kind of adds that look to it. If you do the green color, it's going to add that kind of green look to it. See that? Bam. And then you can kind of cut into it, So then we can cut back here if you wanted it to not be as so I wanted something more like that, for example. Then I'm going to take that brush again and make sure I'm picking the right color here. Boom, like that. All right, so let's add that nice little highlight right there. And then what you can do is you can come in here and take like this green color, just what are colors like kind of in the background. So we have like a lot of trees. And so I'm just gonna do this green color. Watch this. Very lightly. Just come in here and kind of add, almost like you're adding some shapes. Now it looks like her pupil's kind of reflecting the background. It's really subtle, but it makes a difference. You can even take a small picture, like you can take a snapshot of this. Let me just show you this trick real quick. So what you could do is you could take something like grab this little bit of background right here, make it somewhat the size of of this pupil, copy and paste that. Now it's on its own layer. Get rid of this. Take our move tool here, shape, and we're gonna click this, make it the size we want it. turn it like that, put it in here. Okay, and then on the drop down menu, we can choose like, you can try add glow, but we're gonna do something like maybe multiply, or what about overlay, and then just turn it down a little bit, like that's all the way down, like this. And that's if you wanted to add it to the whole entire eyeball. Now, if I want those shapes mainly, to affect more of the eyeball itself, then what I can do is I can go a little bit smaller again. Let's say I mainly just want it inside the pupil area here. Then you have to find a different thing. So unfortunately, this doesn't give you a live, so probably do something like, okay, am I on the right layer? Why is it not even, oh, I see. It's underneath. Okay, there we go. So something like that, maybe make it a little bit bigger. I could erase some of the edge there. I wish like Photoshop, it would give you a preview as you run up and down. So multiply looks nice. See how it even blends into the, look at that. So that's pretty nice. You can try, lighten. That's not going to work though. Let's try overlay. Overlay works pretty nice. Right, and then I can come back in here. Okay, that's my pupil. I'm going to take and bring all this back to black now. So now when I add that on, so now it's not really doing anything. And then we can maybe change it to, I don't know, hard mix. No, that's not going to work. Lighter color. Can I turn that way down? And then you can just take this, put it to kneaded eraser, and just lightly get rid of some of the edge here. Something like that. That adds a nice reflection to the eyeball. Looks really cool. Little tricks you can do. They're just cool things. If you guys want to know more about Clip Studio Paint, I might actually come out with another course again, just showing all the tricks and stuff that you can use to do paintings. And like the basics also, like how do you just use the basic brushes to blend? How do you make a sphere? Maybe I'll just give you you know what? Some of you guys watched the end. It's very few, like literally like 5% of the people actually watched the end. But what I can do real quickly as a bonus is let's go ahead and do a sphere and just show you how to blend with this brush. So we'll grab a kind of a darker color green here, make a big color, make a big sphere like this. Not a sphere, maybe kind of an egg shape or something. Just, it doesn't matter, just a blob, whatever. We just want it to have a shape. And we're going to take this lighter color green, and all we're going to do now is just push kind of hard, and then you kind of fade out a little bit, push lighter like this. Look how easy that fades. Like you can literally just do it all with one brush really easily. Look how smooth that is. Boom, just lightly smooth it out. You need a good, brush here that does that. Now another technique you can do is boom, do that. Now you can go take the gouache brush here. I think it's a dry gouache that I like. Maybe it wasn't that one. Maybe it's this one. And you can just kind of, lightly push it like that, kind of push hard, and then kind of lightly push it. You can see how it kind of starts to fade, and it gives you a little bit of texture. Now, another thing you can do is you have your shape there, and then you go to this brush here. You can use the texture blender if you want to add more, more texture to some parts like this. Go up and down this way first, and then come across the way you want it to smooth. And look at that, adds a nice little texture. Or I like using this one. You can also use this right here, which is nice to like move paint around. Like, so if you really want to just kind of break up an edge really fast, you can use that. You can also use fingertip to really move paint around. But this wet blender type, I think, is the best. It just works really nicely. You can just lightly smooth out. And I like to go with the direction of the thing I'm painting. So in this case, it's more rounded. So I'm using the same kind of strokes I would use if I was using the brush to blend. And then I might want to pull that color out. So say I want this to be lighter. I grab the lighter color, pull it out like this. I'm pulling from here out this way. And then I'm going to go this way with it now. Right, follow the form, just like that. And then look at that and get a nice blend. Now, if you want it to look unrealistic, you don't want it to look like a painting, right? That's more painterly. It's how I like my things to look. then we'd come back in this side, with like another color, let's say this kind of grayish sky color. You kind of, bring that in to part of it like that. I like using this one. The round flat is nice too. I just take off the pressure sensitivity for it. That just allows you to kind of just quickly, oops, make sure I'm picking that dark color there. All right, now I just have that, slight. I might want to even go even more gray than this. There we go. Gray is gonna look really cool next to this, like that. Then you can take this and finally add, your final highlight, which I'm gonna use this brush for, like that. And you can kind of blend that out a little bit. Right, that's not the final highlight, but I'm just adding one other color there. And we want to kind of, color shift, kind of start going more toward yellow. I'm not really using much. I just realized I wasn't really using much color theory here. We want to kind of warm this up just a little bit. Let's say it has more of a highlight like that. I want to kind of blend it out because I want it to be more matte. The harder edge is going to make it look more glossy. That just adds a little bit more higher. And if I want it to look glossy, then I can add even more highlight, add a little bit of texture even to it, like that. All right, so different ways, but anyway, that's how you can blend with these brushes. It's really easy. There's other blending techniques you can use as well, but these ones work really nicely. If you want, stay tuned because I'm going to show you also, not in this video, but I'm going to be posting another video on how to paint a belt, which AI just doesn't do very good on. So I find myself with my AI techniques that I've been teaching is I have to paint a lot of belts. And so I'm going to show you guys how to paint a belt in a really fast, easy way. But also, if you want to learn how to draw things like vaginas with all of its anatomy and everything, how to paint them properly, that's another thing that AI messes up. You can do that. And I'll have a whole entire, really a course on that topic on painting and drawing vaginas, so all the anatomy and everything you need to know, the same way I teach anything else with, the whys and the hows and all that at my DeviantArt. So if you go to my DeviantArt account, the link is in the description of this video. Go to my DeviantArt account and you'll see if you subscribe now for only $2 a month. If you subscribe, you get access to a bunch of cool artwork, but plus you get access to all those courses. And plus I'll be coming out with more videos based on your guys' requests. So if you join that and sign up for only $2 a month, and tell me, do you want to what other kind of things do you want to learn that I can't teach on Udemy? I'm not allowed to teach on YouTube. And so that's one example. Penises, penis insertions, different positions, like all this kind of stuff. Anything sexualized, it's not, basically porn. I can't teach anywhere else. So that's why you want to go watch those. And if you want to learn something particular, just leave a request and I'll be more than happy to show a video on that. All right, so that's it for now. Leave a thumbs up. I mean, look, you already watched to the end. Very few people do that. And very few people actually like thumbs up. It just takes a second. Just click it. I appreciate it.